this tournament, I will sort of approach it as I'm playing one of the presumably weaker players in the tournament that I should be.
He wins. He wins. Game is over.
He has crushed Magnus Carlsen with the black pieces. What an epic game by Gukesh. He wins in a completely lost, not was almost lost, comes back on demand, had the black pieces, was 8 minutes behind on the clock, but he strikes back again.
Being played, Magnus goes queen to e7. We get the move knight takes c6. And after queen to e4, Gukesh plays the move rook takes a5. And in this position, Magnus Carlsen resigns the game. You cannot play rook d8 check because black would simply take the rook. If you play queen e8, king g7, there are no checks here of the king. Black's going to play rook e5 next move. With the extra horse on the board, the white king is going to get checkmated, or you'll have to give up a lot of pieces to dodge mate. Either way, the game will end in Gukesh's favor. So, after this move, rook takes a5, Magnus Carlsen resigns the game. Gukesh wins a 5th game in a row, and most importantly, he beats Magnus for a 2nd time in a row. Sure, Magnus was better, if not winning at some moment early in the game, but Gukesh shows great resiliency. He keeps playing in the position, and actually, to me, what this starts to show is that I think we're seeing a little bit of this Gukesh effect, where Magnus is now starting to doubt himself and make mistakes, because when we look at this game fundamentally from the start, Magnus had a great position. He had the bishop pair. Gukesh created a lot of weakness, pushes his pawns. So 2 bishops, safe king. Gukesh pushing pawns, piece on the edge of the board. This is a game that old Magnus, I think, would have won most of the time. But I think we're starting to see a bit of this Gukesh effect where it's starting to affect Magnus in a certain way. And he is not actually doing very well.
Look, very important day. Yes, I think it's the now we can question Magnus' domination. Because it's not just a second loss, but it's just it's a very convincing loss. So again, it's not miracle by just Gukesh benefiting from Magnus' terrible mistakes, but it's a game that was a big fight and Magnus lost. Serious. Yeah.
Do you think Magnus feels that as well right now? Back-to-back losses against Gukesh.
It is.
Do you think he's starting to have those type of thoughts?
I don't know what kind of thoughts he has. I mean, it's not about his thoughts. It's about the harsh reality. So yeah, and it is a reality. So
guys, just sink it in. Just the way Gukesh played, he takes the pawn and resignation. Wow. Yeah, just hats off to this game.
Rook a5. Rook e5 is coming, and Magnus resigns. Gukesh ended this game with a full 10-minute turnaround on the clock and an incredible win.
Yeah, so feelings about that one?
No, I've played kind of poorly the whole tournament, and this time I got soundly punished. I think, I had a very, very nice position. He took his chance to open out the position with c6. After that, it was a little bit like earlier where, I get short of time and I cannot really handle it that well. He found a lot of really, really good moves, and I think he did that part very well. I think I had one kind of last chance at some point to bail out to something that was very, very drawish. And I thought, well, let's continue playing. And then a couple of moves later, I was pretty hopelessly lost. It was poor, but all credit to Gukesh. He's playing well, and he's taking his chances too.
But of course, this victory with the black pieces against Magnus Carlsen, what does this mean to you specifically? Every time you encounter Magnus, obviously the eyes are going to be on that game. Personally, what does this mean to you?
Yeah, like beating Magnus is always special, for sure. And I think this also gives like a bit more confidence in a sense that like I just had a horrible position from the opening. I just mixed up something really bad, and then and then it's nice that like 2 losing positions in a row I could win against Magnus. So
Speaking
guess-
of that, whenever you realize that you have losing positions, what do you tell yourself to stay in the game, stay in the present moment, and fight
Yeah.
back?
Yeah, it's not always easy, but like just try to make the most of that. Don't lose on the spot.